Today I received a text from California Governor Gavin Newsom's volunteer party that sends out spam texts, saying that he wants to now pass a bill on assault rifles. With that, and how this conversation as a whole has been talked about a lot, especially after the tragedy that happened in Texas, I feel it's important to really talk about the underlying issue, despite that I know that I'll be getting backlash for this, and this is something that I've also talked about in length before. Dear Gavin Newsom, the issue isn't guns. Regardless of what kind, it's a people issue. I know this example is beaten into the ground enough, but it doesn't make it any less true. If you leave any gun on someone's porch and people trespass onto the property, the gun will not sprout legs and just unload on them. Someone has to pull the trigger. Guns have been made out to be seen as the same thing sharks are. Absolutely dangerous and, for so many, need to be gotten rid of. Neither are true if the right measures are taken. And do understand that if you make even more gun laws restricting gun access to law-abiding citizens, or even make them outright illegal, the only people being affected by this are, again, law-abiding citizens. If a person with bad intentions was to want to cause harm to others, what would make anyone believe that they'd actually follow the law to get what they want, and in this case, obtain a gun? Want a good example? Drugs are illegal, yet people still find ways of getting them, and many die and fight over them as well. So simply making something illegal isn't going to be able to fix this, whether it be in the short term or long term. Thinking of animals, gazelles need their horns to be able to defend themselves from predators, but if we took their horns away, would that make for less predators hunting them, or potentially having more do so as they learn that the gazelles aren't able to protect themselves? I will never disagree that guns have been made the tool that has helped to kill more people than I even want to imagine. But even when it comes to banning guns, you're now taking away only one means of being able to cause harm. For someone motivated, would lead to them wanting to find another way to do so. Maybe now using a bomb that could do collateral damage and potentially harm even more people. But as I've stated, guns are simply a tool that shoots a projectile in a specific direction very quickly. It's the person using it that determines the safety of themselves and everyone around them. And if we are seeing guns as the most horrible thing created because they've killed people, why not ban cars as well, as they've killed so many people in accidents, intentionally running people over, or even when someone drinks and drives? And how about banning alcohol as well? That worked the first time, right? All of the examples mentioned have killed more people than guns have. Or how about banning the tool that has caused so many deaths around the world, not just in the US? The writing utensil, as they have helped to write into law so many horrible ideals and helped overturn so many things that are unjust, such as the recent Roe versus Wade overturning. And for those saying that there's more laws and restrictions on a woman's reproductive rights versus gun rights, I'm not even going to mention statistics, as I want you to actually look them up and see for yourself which one is more restricted. It may actually shock you. Despite, yes, the overturning is huge in the eyes of the law, but guns have been getting restrictions on them for so long that at this point it's pretty much, what's just one more law against them to add to all the other countless laws already restricting them? Every example mentioned before is a people issue. Drinking and driving, guns, putting horrible ideas into law. Every one of the root causes are people. Despite how lawmakers and those in the government try their best to paint the picture that people aren't to blame, always using the red herring fallacy scare tactic, especially on those uninformed or easily swayed by fear. And I fully understand that people have been reacting to the news and wanting something or someone to blame. And for those trying to advocate that guns are the issue, it's easier to point to something that has a bad stigma compared to looking at the individual in question, as they cannot represent all the issues similar to this going on. But if guns are used a lot, they will be the face for what to fight against. And me saying all of this is not to undermine the tragedy that happened, or any others like it. What happened shouldn't be the norm of today's world, but unfortunately this seems to be the case. As far as the people aspect, it's the hardest to get ahead of this because someone with a mental illness can go without showing any signs, and someone could provoke them into doing something that they otherwise wouldn't want to do. Someone with ill intentions towards others could smile at you in the same way as someone who loves and cares about you. And in the end, the two people could in fact be the same person. And by the time that you figure it out, it unfortunately may be too late. This is the part that will be the hardest aspect and obstacle to get over before this issue ever gets resolved. Understanding the root cause is what will get the start to a solution going in the right direction. And again, I know so many people will see this and make assumptions toward me, but I am not part of the NRA or feel that every person should own a gun to be able to feel safe. I am a California native who is trained in how to be able to shoot and know that a gun is not a toy. And to better move forward, it's important everyone does their necessary parts to help make things better. Yes, I know it's easier said than done, as pride in the idea of being wrong or messed up can be a big mental obstacle. But getting help if you feel you need it, recognizing signs of others needing help and acting upon them, having quick and swift responses to incidents to minimize loss, and knowing that this isn't going to be an easy fix, but even one step forward is one more step than we did before. And thinking logically, reasonably, and realistically about the real underlying root cause issue is the first step to making that happen. I know that it's a lesser path of resistance to see an article or photo narrating something negative about this issue as a whole and share it on social media as if it's the truth. But actually taking the time to dig into this and address the actual problem is what's needed. And again, I know that's hard, as someone with a mental illness or ill intentions can look like someone without the aforementioned, and there isn't a proven way of knowing that beforehand from a public standpoint without really knowing the individual or individuals in question. My deepest condolences to all those who lost their lives and their families grieving and trying to be able to continue day by day losing their loved ones. Also, just as an FYI, Newsom, the text says assault rifle, but the AR in the name doesn't actually stand for assault rifle. It's Armalite Rifle, the creator of the gun. Calling something with assault in its name is a pathetic attempt at using scare tactic over actual information. If you threaten someone with a knife, it's now an assault knife. If you threaten someone with a book, it's an assault book. Basically, whatever you threaten someone with can now be called an assault object. So trying to classify the gun as an assault rifle off the bat is stupid. Know what you're actually talking about before ever opening your mouth to give an opinion on it.